What do you want to see when we hit 10K? And overwhelmingly, you chose. And I can't say I'm surprised. I figured at some point you would want to learn more about the man behind the hands. And all you know is that I have 2 hands, 2 gloves, a voice, and a background, and probably some kind of camera. So I'm happy to answer all the questions that you've asked in my most recent video right here. So let's get into it. I have my laptop right next to me. Let's begin. Kayla asks, do you base your videos off of triggers that give you tingles, or because you think viewers will like them? Thank you, Kayla, for that quick question before our video. I have usually some ideas that I want to execute on, but when I think of triggers that I want to use in those videos, usually I'll just look around my room and think to myself, what could make a good sound? Sometimes it's random objects. And sometimes it's pretty common triggers, like water sloshing or brushing. It could be some visual triggers with my hands, could be a flashlight, some light triggers, but they're usually not things that give me tingles. They're kind of just random objects a lot of the times. Sometimes before I sit down to record, I'll just kind of test it out with the mic or just up to my ear and think, hey, this is a good sound. This is something that could give somebody tingles. And if I get tingles myself, then it's an automatic win. I'm putting that thing in there. And if I don't, maybe I won't put it in, or maybe I'll just do it for a little bit of time. But honestly, I don't put a ton of thought into it. I'm kind of just experimenting. Glue asks, what is the mic and its settings? That's a good question. Sorry if I punched your name. If you've watched my channel for a little bit, you've probably seen a pretty familiar microphone in them. It's a Blue Yeti. The settings, it's on this thing, the dual audio thing, whatever that is. Usually if I'm just doing whispers and there's some background noise that I don't want, then I might put it on like this thing, like the mono direction. I don't know what that's actually called, but I'll do that instead. Perscandium asks, who are your inspirations in terms of ASMR? When I think about who has inspired me on this channel, there are a few that come to mind. The first one is Binaural. I love this man. This man is a gem. If you've never seen his channel, I will link it below. He is amazing. I have been listening to him for so many years, and he is just he just seems like such a good guy. And I mostly love, apart from his content, which is great, but the audio quality is incredible, and I absolutely love his dark backgrounds. So it is through his content that I kind of really wanted to make videos with a monotone, dark background like this. I find that it's so much more relaxing, and especially if you're someone, like probably most, who listens or watches ASMR to go to sleep and to get sleepy and to make your eyes tired, I feel like it's hard to beat a black background. And I found that as someone who was consuming ASMR content, there wasn't enough dark backgrounds. A lot of super bright colors, which is great. It's great for thumbnails. It's great for capturing your attention. So, so that's where I got the dark background inspiration. And I think more recently, the other inspiration that I came across recently, and I want to credit her with something that I find really valuable. She has kind of helped me to feel more comfortable just putting things out that I enjoy, not just putting out content that I think will get views or do well on YouTube, the things that I actually enjoy making, and that channel is King Hobbit. King Hobbit. I don't know if you may have seen her channel. She's a little newer in the ASMR scene, I think, but absolutely blowing up right now, and it's no surprise to me. Her channel is so creative and complete chaos and original, and you can just tell how genuine the editing is and everything she's doing. And I know my channel isn't very similar to hers at all, but there's something so beautiful about just how original it is and how unfiltered it seems, and that's kind of that's motivated me to have a bit more of a raw style to my editing and my recording. Not how to be so polished. I'm always such a perfectionist in a lot of things, and sometimes it prevents me from creating. So it kind of, watching her channel, allowed me to take a step back and just think about what I actually want to make, and that it's okay if it's different or weird or not the norm. That's totally okay. So I've taken that from her channel and have pushed myself to make content that is more true to myself and not just something that I think will help the channel grow or get views. So those two channels, King Hobbit, Binaural, I will link them below. Go check them out if you haven't already. They are great. Lucy Extra asks, what made you get into ASMR? Well, thank you for asking. So like I said, I started getting into ASMR about 8 or 9 years ago, and it was kind of a very odd way to get into ASMR. I've been watching YouTube for a long time, way before I found ASMR, and one of the channels that I used to watch was College Humor. I don't know if they're still an active channel or very popular now, but they were maybe 10 years ago or so, and they made a parody video of ASMR, and I watched it, and I was like, wait a second, what was that feeling? And I later found out that those were tingles. But I just thought it was funny that they were just making fun of me, ASMR. And yet, it actually was pretty good ASMR. If I can find that video, I'll link it below, so you can check it out if you haven't before. And after that video, I immediately searched ASMR, stumbled upon ASMR requests, Tingle Tuesdays or Tingle Thursdays, whatever it is, that video, and I immediately was like, whoa, what is this? This is amazing. So, and ever since, I listen to ASMR, watch ASMR, like almost every night. So I'll link ASMR requests video down there too, if I can find it. I know it's been a long time, but I think it's pretty popular, so I could probably find it. Zach Forster asked a bunch of questions, but we'll start from the top. A rough age. I am 26 years old. 26 years old. I can't believe I'm even that old. I still feel like, watch it. I still feel like I am 19, but alas, time flies. Next question. Dogs or cats? Can I choose neither? Controversial, I know. I'm not a big dog person. I'm not a big cat person. I grew up with guinea pigs, hamsters, goldfish, horses, chickens. So I'm kind of a rodent person. I know it's maybe a red flag for some people, but that's just my honest answer. Favorite number? guess the half matters. Any unique hobbies? I don't know what hobby I have that's unique. I think I have somewhat common hobbies, but I love to go to the gym. I love to bike, either road biking, mountain biking. I love snowboarding, kayaking. I love fixing things, tinkering with things. I love doing maintenance on my bicycles, on my motorcycle, boat engines. I kind of just like tinkering and fixing things. And what else do I like? I used to play the drums. Not so much anymore, but I used to love it when I was younger. I think that's probably good enough. I feel like most of my hobbies are just things with handlebars. I love to travel too, but I don't know if that's really a hobby. YV asks also a bunch of questions. Thank you for all the questions. I'll just pick a few. What are your thoughts on pineapple on pizza? What about pickles on pizza? Or maybe tangerines on pizza? 2 of those are yucky, and 1 of them isn't. It's up to you to figure out. What do you have in your fridge? What do I have in my fridge? A bunch of sauces, like ketchup, mustard, hot sauce. Well, that's not in the fridge, but hot sauce. I'm a big meal prepper, so the usual ground turkey, rice, vegetables, with some kind of seasoning. I think this week is some taco seasoning. And that's about it. You know, some eggs, some butter, some cheese. I kind of, I love to eat a lot of different foods, especially spicy foods, but I love different foods. But in terms of things that I make myself, I'm usually a pretty simple eater. I think it's just more budget friendly. And when I'm meal prepping and I'm eating the same thing every day, I kind of don't want it to be that crazy. I do love to cook though. So some weeks I'll try some new things, but that's the problem with meal prepping for a whole week, is if you absolutely destroy that week of cooking and it's a terrible dish, you then have to suffer for like 6 or 7 days. So I usually keep it kind of mild and bland and just add sauces later. Do you play any games? If so, what kind? In terms of video games, I really don't play a whole lot. I used to when I was younger, but I'm just not as into it anymore. But when I do play, I might hop on a few games of Rocket League, or lately I've been getting into sim racing. Might get it set up soon. So that's about it for video games. But then in terms of board games, I do love some board games. I'm always down for a game of Clue, or maybe Monopoly. I know I'm kind of late to the party, but I recently played Catan for the first time, and that was pretty fun. Played some bananagrams. Although I am not the most literate person you ever met, so I'm not the best at bananagrams or Scrabble or any kind of word-based game like that. A very easy win. So there's that. Louise asks, what is your biggest fear? Motivation, strength, weakness. Now that is a loaded question. My biggest fear. My biggest fear. Probably getting food poisoning on a school trip and being stuck on a bus with nowhere to go to the bathroom. My biggest motivation, David Goggins, because I like boats and logs. Weakness. My biggest weakness. Is that I go to sleep late. Oh, it's raining now. I go to sleep late and I wake up early. That is my biggest And the last one here, from Sewing Mink. Why is it legal to make hot cocoa using orange juice as a replacement